So if running burns so many calories, then why are you not skinny? That is a great question and exactly what I was wondering when I first started running. Jeff is off screen. That is why I'm looking over there. I'm not just being shifty, but I originally started running to lose weight. Now, what I didn't realize at the time is that yes, running burns a lot of calories, but those calories are not free. Your body is petty. She keeps receipts. And the big secret that every runner has been keeping is that running makes you incredibly hungry. It is not normal hungry. It is sneaky hungry. It is a hungry that can defy intuitive eating. So today we're going to talk about what I have learned when it comes to running and eating. We're going to talk about metabolism, appetite regulation, hunger hormones like GLP-1, who has been a bit of a celebrity lately. We are going to ask these stupid questions, share controversial opinions, say the inside thoughts out loud.
Quick interruption. If you've ever experienced the sudden urge to go to the bathroom a little number two while you've been running, or immediately after finishing your run, something that I so affectionately call the runner's trot. That may be because of dehydration.
And so I'm so grateful to Element for partnering with me on today's video so I can tell you about their science-backed electrolyte blend that contains all of the minerals you need without any of the sugar, artificial sweeteners, or ingredients you don't.
Basically what happens is when you're running, blood flow is directed away from your GI tract. Now, to make matters worse, if you are dehydrated or low on sodium, this can further contribute to the problem, and it makes it harder for you to digest any fluids or nutrition that you are consuming, contributing to GI issues.
Lately, I've been loving their citrus salt flavor, but if you want to check out Element for yourself, they have done an offer for our community where when you shop via my link, they'll send you a sample pack just like this for free to try all of their flavors. So link for that will be in the description box down below. So today we're talking about running and why it makes you so dang hungry. Now, you may have seen me share this graph before. If not, don't worry, we're gonna break it down. But what they have found is that at low levels of physical activity, your appetite is not regulated. So think people who are inactive, living a sedentary lifestyle. What I take personally is that on this chart, they show that as physical activity increases, so does energy intake. I mean, yeah, you need to fuel your body, but here they show the body fat decreasing, which was not the case for me when I started running. Which brings us back to that original question of if running burns so many calories, then why aren't you skinny? Why aren't you losing weight? We're gonna try an analogy. If you think of appetite like a black box and hunger is the result that emerges, but there are all of these inputs that go into getting that result. I will put a graphic on screen that shows some of them, but what I have never seen reflected in a scientific study or scientific literature is the sheer level of crazy that I experienced while dieting. There's a lot of inputs and considerations and equations that go through your brain when you are trying to lose weight. At the start of my weight loss journey, Jeff was here for it. He's seen a lot. I was always looking for a quick fix. I should have known better, but I thought I'm just gonna burn a ton of calories and try to eat nothing. What made running so appealing was that it did both, because it burned a ton of calories, and after running, I didn't feel hungry, so I wouldn't eat. Now, research has shown that aerobic exercise, like running, done at a moderate to high intensity, reduces ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and increases the fullness hormones like GLP-1. If that sounds familiar, that is because that is the hormone that is targeted by drugs like Ozempic. Where this gets tricky is that these hormonal fluctuations are temporary. So when I didn't eat after running, I'd feel great initially, but a few hours later, when my body caught up to what we had been doing, I would transform like a werewolf into a whole other girl who was not aware of the weight loss journey that we were on. I would eat a lot. I wasn't proud of it. I would feel embarrassed by it. I felt a lot of shame. And because of that shame, I would try to burn even more calories and eat even less calories, which I'm sure you can imagine how that went for me. So this chart is technically accurate, but it's nuanced because everybody has different factors affecting their eating. There are many external cues for food, things that make you feel like eating, even if you don't need to physically, like social pressure, existing routines. If you have a bad relationship with eating, shame is a very powerful feeling that might be overpowering the improved appetite or satiety signaling you get from increasing your physical activity. Which brings me to my next point, because if running doesn't make you lose weight, why is it that every high level, every professional runner I see is itty bitty teeny tiny? You're not comparing apples to apples as much as running burns a lot of calories. And look, I see these athletes, they're doing a lot of running. It's easy to think, okay, running burns the calories. If you do the more running, that burns the more calories, you get the very skinny. Don't get me wrong, their diets are unrealistic, but it's not in the way you think. At the time, I was convincing myself, okay, they're lying that they eat this much food. That's not the case. That they're not lying. I mean, I hope they're not lying about anything, but unrealistic is thinking that you are going to be able to consistently burn as many calories as an elite level athlete, because they have spent years building up to this level of activity and building up to being able to do this amount of activity without getting an injury. Many of them, as a result of this, have never gained a significant amount of weight, have never experienced a significant change to their bodies. And before you comment pregnancy, it is a completely different thing. I didn't understand the sheer amount of running that elite athletes do until I started half marathon training. And don't get me wrong, I am very much so an amateur who is, not a beginner, but like intermediate on my running journey. Most of these athletes are doing 2 runs per day. Logistically speaking, for getting calories into your body, you cannot eat immediately before running. You can eat after running, but if they're doing 2 sessions in the day, they have got to schedule their nutrition perfectly so that what they're eating is giving them enough calories, but is also going to digest quickly enough as to not interfere with their training. So I imagine for a lot of these athletes, it actually gets to a place where they're running out of time to get the calories that they need. And I suspect that's why they are so lean. Why do some people lose weight with running? I remember when I finally shared my weight loss journey, my weight loss transformation, I had done so much work on myself, on my relationship with eating. I felt like a completely different person internally, ignoring how I looked externally. And when I even shared that I was casually running, people immediately dismissed all that other work that I'd done and were like, well, duh, you started running, so you lost weight. When you see a transformation online, there is no context. You do not know what was going on behind the scenes. I posted this video not too long ago, and I got a few comments along the lines of, okay, so what did you do to tone up? Because obviously in the before videos, I was already running. In the after videos, I was still running. I think there's probably 7 years between those videos. The first video was from, I don't want to say before I started my weight loss journey, but it was when I was still in that cycle of trying to do everything, burn all the calories, not eat a whole lot of anything. And the second video was just this past year. So when I have been focusing more on running, I've had a really good balance of running with weightlifting. I've had a baby. I mean, a lot of things have changed. But if we're to actually go step by step through the context that I feel like matters for that transformation, when I lost most of that weight, so between the before video and when I lost about 20 pounds, I actually scaled back on running. I scaled back on all of my training. I slowed down completely. I switched to mostly weightlifting and walking. My weight loss happened over the span of a few months, and during those few months, we were doing a lot of traveling. So most of my workouts, like I'm saying weightlifting, but most of them were kind of the amount of weightlifting you could do in a hotel gym. And we were walking, so we were traveling a lot, so we'd be walking around the cities. I lost about 20 pounds. Then I thought, hey, you know what? I kind of liked running. Maybe I'll get back into it. But of course, when people saw my before picture and then, oh, I'd lost all this weight and oh, she's starting running again, I bet she just did running to lose all that weight. Flash forward, not even that long. If you're familiar with my pregnancy story, you know it was a bit of a whirlwind experience for me. So found out I was pregnant at 6 months. We had a yeehaw time, had a baby, ran through pregnancy. I think I was running pretty much, I want to say I stopped running maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I had Bean. It was pretty close. I just was like, it was a lot of belly by the end of pregnancy. So kept running pretty much all the way through pregnancy. Postpartum, I took about 14-ish weeks off. I think I started more consistently running around 16 weeks. But in the time postpartum, I'd gotten into Pilates, I'd gotten really into breath work and functional core training, was still doing my weightlifting, but I feel like this is when I had the biggest shift into functional training. And I was lean. I was in tune with my body. I think the fittest I've been recently was maybe last summer, maybe this summer. I feel like it's always hard to see yourself objectively in the moment. But last summer, I was very, very fit. I was lean, I was tight, I was toned. I was doing mainly Pilates, weightlifting fusion, as well as running 2 to 3 times most weeks. My mileage was not crazy high. I was not doing a lot of really hard running workouts. This is before I'd started half marathon training, and I felt very in tune with my body. Flash forward to now, this is me. Really doesn't matter. We don't need to nitpick things. I had a meltdown just last week. Jeff knows. I really did not recognize my body, myself, the mirror. My digestion was going through it. She's not been well. IBS has been flaring. I had a complete meltdown for body image and just everything, only to realize that my period would arrive this week. So I think
pregnancy test.
it was one of those weeks where your hormones are a little crazy. You're feeling a little crazy. It's all part of it. It's all part of the process. The transformations you see online are very rarely a linear journey. If you have seen someone who has lost weight with running, I doubt that was the only change they made. Even if they say, oh, I just started running, they might not be aware of the other changes that were going on in their body. I know a big thing that changed for me, especially with half marathon training, is I had to be a lot more intentional with my eating because, again, you can't eat immediately before running. You want to refuel after so that you don't get hangry. So I feel like even somebody who's pretty advanced on this health and wellness journey, I kind of had to relearn how to eat. So a lot of changes happen that aren't often reflected in a simple video or picture you see. So can you lose weight with running? Should you try to lose weight with running? Can you eat in a way that is healthy and fuels your body and prevents injury and is just like respectful to your body while running, and also hoping that maybe there's some weight loss along the way? I've seen a lot of people skirt around this topic, and I think it's because it is uncomfortable. It's a lot easier to have the conversation of, oh, you should fuel your body. You don't want to get an injury. It's so much fun that it's going to overshadow any insecurities, which is not true. I love running, but I also love feeling confident in my body. And I don't believe that you have to feel positive about your body at every stage of its journey. There are some days where I wake up and I'm not feeling the most positive. There have been some bodies I've existed in where I look back and I think, you know what, I'm glad that chapter's behind me, and that is okay to say. So to answer the question, I have a theory. We know that our bodies are always seeking balance. And when we think about weight loss, I think a lot of the focus is on these very surface level things like calories burned, calories consumed, but those are only the tip of the iceberg. And what makes matters maybe more confusing is that everybody's iceberg is a little bit different shape. What we know scientifically is that regular exercise can alter the sensitivity of the appetite control system by balancing the desire to eat with an improved response to satiety signals. Basically, exercise should make you feel more in tune with your body. The way that I have experienced this is that exercise makes me feel something. It makes me feel something that is different from maybe those other feelings, that food noise that natters with. It gives you a louder signal. It gives you a different signal that kind of checks you and reminds you what true physical hunger is. Current evidence suggests that physically active individuals have improved appetite sensitivity, which could generate long-term energy balance. Thus, exercise should be promoted as a universal method of inducing an acute energy deficit, and engaging in regular physical activity may promote a closer link between energy intake and energy expenditure in the long term. What they are saying in their scientific lingo is that exercise is really the start. It is the starting step that you take to start feeling improve physical hunger and to support creating an energy deficit, but it is not the way that you're going to long-term maintain your new body composition. The way that you are going to do that is by learning to listen to your hunger and fullness cues and eat in line with your needs. So how does this relate to running? If you're struggling with appetite regulation and what feels like out of control hunger, out of control cravings, I am a big fan of scaling down what you are doing less training, doing less running, doing less in general, really doing less so you can focus on consistency, reduce the inputs to your body so that it makes it easier for you to actually interpret what you're feeling. I think that's a big part of why my weight loss worked, because I really scaled back on everything and I could actually, reconnect with my body without always just feeling like chaos in my brain and being so reactionary to every little thing. When it comes to weight loss and running, you got to understand that those are two separate goals, right? Running for performance requires fueling your body. Weight loss inherently requires underfueling your body. I'm not saying that that is a terrible thing. I know a lot of people, I don't know if that's a cancelable offense, but I don't really care if it is. What is going to make that calorie deficit more manageable for you to stick with consistently? Probably not going to extremes with running. Probably not saying, you know what, I want to lose weight. I'm going to jump into half marathon or full marathon training. In my mind, those are not compatible goals. They're probably just going to land you somewhere along the lines of injury, feeling discouraged, not really having a great relationship with your body. I feel like I'm rambling, but I could talk about this all day. If you want to lose weight and you enjoy running, running can be a great form of physical activity to support creating that initial calorie deficit that you need, becoming more in tune with your hunger and fullness. But take it gradually. I'd probably say do a little bit of running on your weight loss journey, lose maybe the first chunk of weight, then shift goals, maybe start running for performance, then maybe shift back to weight loss if there's more weight you want to lose. But just understand, you got to shift between those goals, because trying to be at a calorie deficit and perform your best, those are two different things. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? I feel like we covered so much.
You covered so much.
We covered so much.
So much. I appreciate
Jeff has learned a lot. Not that you haven't already heard all of this.
all of it.
So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely let me know. I would love to do more long form stuff like this, because there is so much I've learned on this fitness journey. There's so many topics too that I still want to dive into, and I'm not afraid to ask the stupid questions, to have the maybe unpopular opinion. So if there's something that you want to deep dive on, let me know below. If maybe this helped you, I would love to hear about it. So let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.